Maine at the forefront of the battle to stop super PAC spending in elections. Voters approving a measure that would cap individual contributions to super PACs.
An appeal of that measure going before the First Circuit Court of Appeals today. Political reporter Jackie Mundry was inside the courtroom in Boston and tells us where this case stands.
In a Boston courtroom, federal judges hearing arguments over a Maine citizens initiative that 75% of voters voted for.
When we started this fight, now about 8 years ago, everybody told us it was impossible.
Lawrence Lessig is the founder of Equal Citizens, which was the nonprofit leading the charge on a citizens initiative on the November 2024 ballot that would limit contributions from individuals to super political action committees to $5,000. Lessig telling me almost 2 years ago that he knew if passed, this referendum would end up in court.
The United States Supreme Court, we believe, will uphold it. And when it upholds it, there's another federal law that's already on the books, exactly like this law.
Soon after it passed, a University of Maine professor disagreed with Lessig's assessment.
I do think the Supreme Court would be very likely to find this unconstitutional, and that's based on the reasoning it has applied in other cases like Citizens United.
That Citizens United case was referenced by both sides in the courtroom today. In that case, the United States Supreme Court struck down limiting independent political spending by labor unions, setting the precedent that these types of restrictions violate the First Amendment. State Senator and candidate for governor Rick Bennett was an intervener on today's case. He says Mainers voted in favor of this because Mainers don't want corruption in politics.
It's just common sense. You know it when you see it. The people of Maine saw it. 75% of them want to end this.
In court, those in favor of the referendum arguing that giving to a super PAC that is aligned with a candidate could appear to be corruption. The Dinner Table Action PAC opposes this Maine law. Its attorney, Charles Miller, told the court that these types of donations do not lead to corruption and points to a United States Supreme Court decision announced just last month that struck down a federal law that capped the amount a political party could spend in coordination with a candidate. In a statement, Miller says the court will likely conclude that the First Amendment and Supreme Court precedent limits on donations to super PACs, adding that if the First Circuit follows the law, the Supreme Court is very unlikely to hear an appeal, and notes that opposing attorneys, quote, begged the court to rule differently so the Supreme Court would take up the case.
The First Circuit Court of Appeals judges will release their decision in writing in a few months. In Boston, I'm Jackie Mundry for Maine's Total Coverage.